And here we are for another podcast of Gen E 2024. What is Gen E? As you all know, the largest youth entrepreneurship event that this year is taking place in Catania. And we're the finalist of almost 400,000 young people that goes through our mini company program and startup program, part of the 6 million young people that every year JA impacts throughout Europe. And we do this thanks to fantastic partners like EIT Health, the European Institute of Technology, has been a great partner of JA, supporting the young generations and obviously supporting the entrepreneurial idea linked up with the health sector. So today we're talking about the case of DotLumen, the glasses that empower the blind. And I'm so glad to have with me Cornel Amariei, which is not only a JA alumni, but also a great inspiring leader supported by EIT Health. Hello, Cornel, how are you doing?
Great. I'm saluting you all from Geneva, where we are at a very large AI summit. I'm blessed to be traveling the world and talking about a technology which we build and how it will empower the life of people. So it's an amazing day.
I did see some videos over there that are quite impressive. We'll get back to that in a second, but tell us about first the concept idea, the inspiration behind DotLumen and the journey that started this health startup for you.
Sure. So basically, I was born in a family of people with disabilities. I'm the only person in my family which doesn't have a disability. That includes my parents, my sister, my nephew, my cousins. All of them have disabilities ranging from visual, locomotive, mental disabilities. And I'm the only person who doesn't have a disability in my family. So after many years working in the industry and working predominantly in tech, I decided to come back to entrepreneurship and to go in a place where entrepreneurship unfortunately doesn't exist that much, and that is assistive technologies, which is technology assisting people with disability. So roughly almost 4 years ago, we founded a company which now worldwide is going worldwide, helping people worldwide, and very soon is going to change the lives of millions.
I did see you going around the world. I did see you with some of the most inspiring leaders today, like people from NVIDIA at this point. Looks like a few weeks ago you were in Silicon Valley, indeed. Now, what sets it apart from existing solutions? I think you're not the first one who tried. What really set it apart in the solution for the visually impaired?
Sure. So to give a bit of context now, we have 300 million people visually impaired in the world, but they still use the same two solutions for thousands of years. That is the white cane for the blind and the guide dog for the blind, the service dog for the blind. And the service dog, it's a great solution. It does great what it does, but it has a few problems. It's a lot of work to take care of one, and to train and maintain one over its lifetime, it can actually cost more than 200,000 euros. So basically, it's a Bentley or a service dog. That's the decision which some people could potentially make. Um, we wanted to do the same thing as the service dog because it does great what it does. We wanted to do the same things, but in something which is scalable, something which is cheaper, something which doesn't require 1 to 2 hours of day of a day of taking care of. So we build up lumen glasses. We call them. It's a headset. You put it on. It does everything that the guide dog does. And to give a bit of context here, a guide dog, if I have one, I can ask it to take me to an empty seat or to take me back home or to guide me in general. And the guide dog will do this by pulling my hand, avoiding me from obstacles and keeping me safe. The lumen glasses, they do exactly the same, but they don't pull your hand as they're not on your hand, they're on your head. So they actually pull your head. So you actually feel them, how they hold your head and they pull you in the direction where you have to go, keeping you away from obstacles, keeping you safe. It's basically a self-driving car. So we took everything a self-driving car did and we scaled it down to something you can wear. This is tested by over 300 blind people across the world. It's coming on the market beginning of next year internationally, and even a bit earlier in our home country where we started it. And
From Romania,
1 year, 2 years from today, yeah, I'm from Romania, so in Romania is gonna be the first market. And 2, 3 years from today, we're gonna change a paradigm which is millennia old because it took us thousands of years to get to less than 30,000 guide dogs. We're changing that in the first year after releasing the product. So that's the power of what technology can do in the right direction. That's the power of AI also. And of
and
course,
I'm
that's the power
sure.
of entrepreneurship.
And I'm sure that, that's so important to see that you are a JA alumni. You went through JA company program many years ago, and I can see that the innovation that you brought it, but also facing and this and changing the paradigm was something that EIT Health also was looking for, and that's why we're a great partner with that. But not everything is always easy to be an entrepreneur, is it? So what are the challenges that you faced?
It's the hardest job in the world, one of the hardest jobs in the world. Being an entrepreneur, first of all, I'm an entrepreneur because I learned to be an entrepreneur during the J company program. That's why I'm an entrepreneur. DotLumen exists because on the first day we founded a company, we got an EIT Health grant. So Jay taught me how to be an entrepreneur, and EIT Health gave me the first grant and support to actually push our first medical innovation. So it's really a story of two great partners which we had in our development. But getting back to being the entrepreneur and the challenges, it's 99% of my work as an entrepreneur is receiving bad news, but we fight for that 1% of great news which we get every now and then.
First time I hear
It's
something
about
like that. That's amazing. Yeah. First time I hear.
that is my life, and I think it's only mine. It's 99% of the time bad news. It's about problems. It's about getting problems all the time. And now we're not a small company, we're 50 plus people, but and the more we are, only the hardest problems get to me. So the easy problems we have people to solve them, and the ones which cannot be solved, they end up to me. So it's really about resilience. It's really about handling huge amounts of unbalance in my life and everything. But I absolutely love it because that 1%, which is when you see something new, when you build something which changes somebody's lives, when you get a good feedback, when you build something you did not think a month before it was possible. For that 1%, we are fighting every day, and 99% is about the fighting. One thing which I say all the time is because I work with hundreds of entrepreneurs in my life, and the one key distinguisher which I see from the great ones, from the ones which the average ones and the great ones is absolutely resilience. It's about putting up with much more than anybody can, and that's what we do here. We started the company based on a hypothesis that it will be technically possible. We knew it was not. We knew it was not technically possible, and we proved it. We proved it's technically possible. We worked against our own belief that it's not possible. Until now, we go around the world and people try them, and in 2 minutes they're running with them, with the devices which we built. Blind people or sighted people blindfolded. So, uh, as an entrepreneur, there's a billion challenges, and 99% of them of your time will be solving them. But for that 1%, of greatness which comes out of what you built.
On that 1%, you have secured some funding. It's very difficult for young entrepreneurs, especially in this sector, right? In the health sector. So how did you go about securing funding?
Well, I founded a company when I was 26. The first investors were basically friends. So we raised our first I think the first million basically we raised from friends. Above that, the journey started. Our first large investment it was a few years ago. We remember when we raised 3 million euros. That was definitely tougher, but it was about networking. It was about knowing the people. At the end, you're raising money from humans, regardless if it's a VC, regardless if it's angels or other types. You're raising money from humans, and you need to prove that they can trust you with their money. So a lot of that, and now we're actually, of course, one of our biggest victories was when the EU, through its European Innovation Council, awarded us close to 10 million euros. That was one of our biggest achievements. It was absolutely great, and we have a great relationship with the EIT, the EIC, and all of the European mechanisms for supporting innovation.
We
And
can definitely see
now,
people complain about the bureaucracy and things, and that's all. But there is so much that is happening that those good stories are about. They are financing, they are supporting young entrepreneurs.
yeah, and no, we exist because of EIT. We exist because EIC. We exist because of other such programs.
So
Again, to give a bit of context, we started this company in Romania. Romania is the least innovative EU country according to the European scoreboard for the last 12 years. So we are already where Europe is not very good at deep tech. That's the reality of it. The USA is years ahead. So first of all, we built one of the most advanced deep tech companies in Europe, which is not the best content to do it, but we started it in the worst part of not the best continent, which is Eastern Europe, specifically Romania. So it was really, really hard. And if it wouldn't be for mechanisms, European level mechanisms, such as the EIT, specifically in our case, EIT Health, or the EIC, we couldn't have done it. Now we're fundraising again. We're closing very soon a new round, and it's so much work talking to so many people. You have to be used with the idea that it's 100 no's to your first yes. We got many yeses.
99. Let's make it to 99. 99 no's.
99 no's for one yes. We have many yeses, but that's because we have many no's in the background. It's so demotivating.
But there are also other challenges, right? One thing is the funding that needed to be raised in Europe, which still we need. I think everybody needs to think on how to support young entrepreneurs like you. But on the other side is also the regulatory process, especially in this sector. No, how this have affected your go-to-market?
So really, I'm actually, I have a very unpopular opinion. I'm a fan of regulations. I like rules. I'm an engineer. So by training, I see rules, I see opportunities, I see things like this. And I'm actually not against regulation. It's a very regulated market, but medical devices are regulated thoroughly in many places. I mean, the US or Europe, the standards are pretty much the same. The regulatory is a bit different, but the standards which are based on, they're pretty much the same. If you do a medical device in Europe, you're already 80% towards a medical device in the US, just small differences. But that really depends on the type of device, so I can't generalize that much. For us, 95% the same. It's hard if you have never done it. So if you have never done it and you have never been to the regulatory process and you haven't been to regulation, it's very hard. I see, like recently, there are a lot of new, we set a trend in Romania. There were no hardware startups before us, and we set a trend that we do both software and hardware. So now people actually want to build some hardware. And a lot of students are coming, or other young entrepreneurs in like the 25, 26, 27-year-olds, and they want to build hardware and they can prototype cool things. But putting up a hardware on the market, that is so difficult. It's so difficult. And the only reason we do it is because we know how to do it, and because we've done it in the past when we were part of companies of hundreds of thousands of people.
People do not know, probably the first time they wear your glasses, they do not know how to walk in, right? But then, right, as soon as they put it on, what's their feedback? What is the story that they're telling you?
So it really depends if you do with blind people or with sighted people. But let me start with blind people, because that's for what we're working here. Great example, like a couple of months ago, there was a blind woman with her son. He was 16, 17 years old. She was a guide dog user. She put her device on. She began walking. It took 15 seconds until the son began crying. 15 seconds.
15 seconds. Wow.
15 seconds up to crying. That was absolutely amazing. So people actually, when they put it on, specifically blind people, they directly walk very confidently. I mean, they're used to walking without seeing, obviously. And even today, yesterday, we had blind people testing, and they were like running around the show with our glasses. They really, really like it. Usually, first questions after wow and other interjections like that is when is it on the market? So that generally the type of questions we get. I remember CES, beginning of the year in Las Vegas, we were doing some random blind person came to us. We gave him a device and he was going all around. And then he had a WhatsApp group with like 15 more blind people who were at CES. And they all came, and we had to make a queue of blind people to test the device. It was pretty cool. And tremendous amounts of feedback, but mostly about when can we get it? That's the feedback which we're getting a lot. But then claps and cries and happiness and all of that, and it's absolutely amazing. It really empowers you to work.
And this is so rewarding, right? Despite the 99 out there of no's, and I'm sure this 99 now they're hitting their tongue, having said no, probably. But we talked about your past, the challenges, your being resilient. We're talking about the present of already people experiencing it, what you're doing. What about the futures? What is in the future of DotLumen? How do you see that future?
Sure. One of the things which we kept a bit undercover, but it got a bit public once NVIDIA happened. So a bit of context, 2 months ago, we opened the biggest tech show in the world. We opened NVIDIA GTC keynote. So when Jensen went on stage, we were there. And it was absolutely amazing. 30 or 40 million people saw that. Jensen, the CEO and founder of NVIDIA, together with the governor of California, came to our booth for 45 minutes. Amazing experience. And we kept some things undercover, but now it's basically going in the public. What we built at Lumen is something which we call pedestrian autonomous driving. What do we mean? We have self-driving cars. They drive on the road and they can sort of self-drive on the road. But if you look at the pedestrian environment, sidewalks, crossings, indoors, outdoors, you don't really have something like that. There are very few examples. And while we were building the glasses for the blind, we built the technology, the software, which understands the pedestrian world and can actually do self-driving there. Of course, we don't drive wheels, we drive blind people. But what we realized pretty early on is that this technology can be used for many things. And to give you a bit of context where the future is going, in 5 years, approximately 5-7 years, you're going to order a pizza and something will knock on your door. You're going to open a door. It's going to be a humanoid robot giving you your pizza. That humanoid robot got to your door because of our code. And we can actually do it today already. But not that many humanoid robots yet. So I cannot wait. In the following months, you will see me into Romania or to places of the world next to a humanoid robot walking on the street. We will go to like some
I love to see
amazing
it.
places
So
together.
everybody, people is following you on Instagram, or following you on LinkedIn. I'm following DotLumen. I see that you're very active over there. Let me ask you one thing. Can you go back when you were 16, 17 years old and you did your company program? What did you learn from the JA experience?
Well, I've been through the program twice, finalists both times. And the second time was pretty amazing. The second time, to give a bit of context, we were failing chemistry. And the chemistry professor said, guys, you have not learned anything at chemistry, but you really like computers. What about if you do something with computers for chemistry? And we built this app, which was the periodic table of elements app. That was 2010. iPhone was kind of getting known. And we built it and we showed it to our professor and to our colleagues. They really liked it and they passed us the class. But then we said, hey, we built this thing, let's make it a business. And we actually published like the 4th periodic table of elements app in the world for chemistry. And for the Junior Achievement Company program. And at some point we woke up and it was the most downloaded chemistry app in the world for a brief point of time. So
And this was an
failing
educational program for you.
Yeah. Two failing high school students at chemistry built the most downloaded chemistry app in the world, actually for J Company of the Year. And it was we didn't win the finals for multiple reasons. And if I remember correctly, about 300,000 people downloaded it. So it was
an amazing story. This is the beauty of JA. We also give young people a safe space to fail, a safe space to learn, a safe space to try again. And we're happy to see that also. In addition to that, when you created that Lumen, EIT Health has supported your journey. I think they definitely deserve a round of applause, not only from you, but from all the 6 million young people like you that we serve every year. So we're going towards the end of this podcast. I'm sure our paths will cross again and again and again. Me, you, and this human robot that is going to bring the pizza to me. Let's make sure it's an Italian pizza, being myself an Italian. But thank you so much, Cornel. Thank you so much, EIT Health. And for all of you, what you need to do, what you need to comment, you need to share, you need to like podcasts like this. See you at Jenny 2024. Bye, Cornel.
Thank you. Thank you so much. Goodbye.